Hi, everyone. Thanks for watching. So I have been teasing an episode, spilling the tea on my crazy family, and I'm finally going to deliver today. It's 7:27 a.m. on a Monday, and I've just woken up and chosen violence, apparently. I haven't Googled or talked to my mom to refresh my memory, so you're not going to get any dates or anything like that. But this is purely for entertainment, like the Jerry Springer version of the Susie show, if you will. And I already know who everyone wants me to start with because every time I talk about Thomas Hinckley, everyone says, "Oh, are you related to John Hinckley Jr.?" And yes, I am. I think it's something like seventh cousins. But according to this book, Hinckley Heritage and History, everyone in America with the last name Hinckley is related and a descendant of Samuel Hinckley. He came over in 1636 on a boat called the Hercules of Sandwich. And he followed his pastor here, but there's also stories of when he was still in England, him having to like hide under stairs and things like that because the British government was after him for some reason. And, the reasons he states is it was because they discriminated based on his religion. Um, I tend to think there's more to that story than he's giving. But yeah, so the Hinckley family started in America um, by a religious fanatic who was on the run. And that's how we got here. So I want to start by saying I don't care about your political beliefs. Do not shoot anyone. Um, People lately kind of have made John Jr. into like some kind of hero. He was not. He was mentally ill. If you talk to him or listen to his interviews, he will tell you he actually likes Reagan and he was just crazy. Which, I mean, good on him for at least being self-aware, but he was not like trying to save us from a dictator or whatever. He was just crazy. But the interesting part of the attempted Reagan assassination to me is actually John Jr.'s father, who obviously John Sr., but he went by Jack, and we'll just call him that from here on out to make things less confusing. So first, what I want everyone to do is take a second and Google how George Bush and Obama are related. And you will see they are both descendants of Samuel Hinckley. I think the Bush family is a descendant from Thomas Hinckley. I'm not sure on that one, but Obama is a descendant of Sarah Hinckley. And so that means that the guy that shot Reagan is related to who was his vice president at the time. And it wasn't just like, John is my seventh cousin or whatever. Jack actually lived across the street from George Bush, George H.W. Bush, the older one. And they were friendly. The anecdote is they had dinner every Thursday together. But what you can tell for sure is that so Jack owned Vanderbilt Energy. It was an oil company. And in the 70s, during the fuel crisis, the business started going under. George Bush bailed him out millions of dollars. You don't really do that for someone that you don't know very well, generally. And, money's something that you can follow. So that one I'm going to state as a fact. And the other fact, because you can follow money, is that when George was running for Vice President Reagan as president, Jack donated millions of dollars to their campaign. So they obviously had a relationship. You know, even if you throw out the anecdote of them having dinner, they were at least financially tied. So the other interesting part of that is, aside from owning Vanderbilt Oil, Jack also had a church group. Now, I can't remember the name of them. If I get more motivated, I'll look it up. But he had a church group that rescued Cuban refugees. They would, you know, help people get to America and set them up here. But that church group was actually working with the CIA. So once the people would get here from Cuba, they would turn them over to the CIA for questioning. So you have this crazy guy that shoots the president, who is related to the vice president, whose father is involved in the CIA. And the weirdest part of that to me is that I've never heard any conspiracy theories about the Reagan assassination. I'm sure there are some, but everyone just seems very willing to accept, oh, this guy just, was in love with Jodie Foster. He was crazy, so he shot Reagan. And I'm not saying that's not what it was, but when you have all of these other factors, and the CIA especially, and this is like John's age and when he was born, you have to wonder if there was like a MK Ultra type thing that had happened. That's purely a speculation on my part, but it's just very weird. And again, like I said, the weirdest part is that no one ever talked about it. So, and Jack was he felt very, very guilty about what had happened. And, to his credit, he sold Vanderbilt Energy, and he opened up this group that helped mentally ill people. Like, he dedicated the rest of his life to that. So that is what I know about John Hinckley Jr. The other one that I think is the most interesting, but this one might be kind of niche, is Dorothy Arnold. So she was a socialite that just went missing from the middle of New York City. I think it was in 1910. It was early 1900s. I actually didn't know we were related until, I don't know, I think it was like 2020, 2021. I was listening to a podcast, and they had mentioned her brother's name, and her brother's middle name was Hinckley, which, you used to get like, your mother's maiden name as a middle name, or your grandmother from on your dad's side maiden name. If it was a prominent family, they would want to carry on the name like that. So I asked my mom about her, and she says, oh yeah, we are related. She was your grandfather's cousin's aunt. And I just want to kind of clarify that in my family, everyone's like, you just say cousin because it's too confusing. So it could have been like his third cousin's aunt or something. But she said she remembered the cousin coming over and them talking about it. And she said, and this is supposed to be like an unsolved mystery, by the way. She said, yeah, she didn't go missing. She ran off with some guy to Oklahoma to get married, and they found out, and the family was just embarrassed by it. They didn't want anyone to know about it, and they made some kind of deal with her, like, you can stay married to this guy we don't approve of, just be quiet and stay down in Oklahoma. So is the mystery of Dorothy Arnold solved? I don't know. That is what my mom says, though. So the other big, crazy people that I'm related to are the Mormon Hinckleys. So Gordon Hinckley ran the Mormon church until he died in 2008. He's a little bit boring, but he was involved in the salamander murder car bombing things. If you want to know more about that, you can watch Murder Among the Mormons. And that it used to be on Netflix. I don't know if it still is because that was years ago, but it should still be there. And there were, I think, 3 or 4 generations, like his father, his grandfather, his great grandfather, were all prophets in the Mormon church. And I want to say it was great grandfather got arrested for polygamy, and like he had something like 23 kids, and yeah, so they were that kind of Mormon. And if you had Googled how Bush and Obama were related in the beginning, there's also some other politicians on there, like Sarah Palin is one of them, and Rush Limbaugh too. So, yeah, any like skeevy white person, super white person in politics, I like might be related to. So, yeah, that is the gist of it. I hope everyone enjoyed this. And as you know, I'm figuring out, or every once in a while, my mom drops a bomb on me, just like, oh, yeah, this is what it is. And yeah. And it's like something mind blowing. If any more of those come up, I will let everyone know because I've been told to stop talking about them by my family. So, obviously, I'm going to talk about it now. So everyone, thanks for watching and enjoy your week.